Hi everyone, Mike the MC, bringing another self-care video. I didn't have my hat on today just because I wanted to respect my hair gel today, just because I was like, I was already coming back from Mass, and I just was like, let's just keep it on. I just don't want to mess with that, so why not? Let's get this rolling. But anyhow, being humanly distinctive, right? It's good to know that we are all people, and we have ideas about God. And so number 285 is one of perhaps the longest one in the Catechism so far that we've ran into. So bear with me. I'll just read through it, and then we'll get to the point. So it's good to be humanly distinctive. Let me share with you 285 the following. Since the beginning, the Christian faith has been challenged by responses to the question of origins that differ from its own. Ancient religions and cultures produce many myths concerning origins. Some philosophers have said that everything is God, that the world is God, or that the development of the world is the development of God, pantheism. Others have said that the world is a necessary emanation arising from God and returning to Him. Still others have affirmed the existence of two eternal principles, good and evil, light and darkness, locked in permanent conflict, dualism, manichaeism. According to some of these conceptions, the world, at least the physical world, is evil, the product of a fall, and is thus to be rejected or left behind, Gnosticism. Some admit that the world was made by God, but as by a watchmaker who once he has made a watch, abandons it to itself, Deism. Finally, others reject any transcendent origin for the world, but see it as merely the interplay of matter that has always existed, materialism. All these attempts bear witness to the permanence and universality of the questions of origins. This inquiry is distinctively human, and it is. It is. And so I think the thing to consider with this one, being a very long one with a catechism, and it's just like, okay, where do we start with this one? I think to begin, just to think, okay, we all have some idea of existence, and you can think of an idea of God and how everything works, and possibly even connect other ideas from books you've read and so forth, etc. But then you come to see that other philosophers, other thinkers who came before you had similar ideas, and you're like, okay, so at least I was thinking about the world, right? And I would argue it's better to think about it and to explore versus someone who would say, there's nothing to it. That's my opinion. But the thing also is like, why worry? As another thing, why worry about just existence itself and just trust in the whole process, right? Trust that you and I are going to be doing good things in our life, going some places, wanting to do good for our families. And so I think being distinctively human, connecting back with the theme, it's this idea that, okay, we're trying to figure out the answer to the puzzle itself. Not necessarily solving the puzzle, but just wondering how it works. Wondering how all life is going to work together, and really how we as different people from across the time, different locations of the world, different cultures, etc., are still connecting and yet so distantly not related, right? How we are so unique, but yet so close. That's what I'm trying to draw. And how when you look at that distinction between people and yet how closely related we are, and you wonder, okay, your thoughts, your beliefs about the past, about current life right now, okay, maybe I believe some of those ideas from my perspective, my faith, maybe some things you believe from my perspective as well. We just have different names, different concepts for those same ideas. And you wonder, okay, is it just human understanding that is so, I would argue, not so perfect in the sense that, okay, we are just trying to generate ideas off of what we are seeing, are experiencing, are reacting to, right? Or are we just going to kind of have that idea of the governing laws? Law of gravity, the law of physics, right? Law of everything, negative and positive forces, right? The neutral, natural force. I forget my physics. My point is, there are laws to things of how everything works in life. Okay, so what are you going to do about all of these things? Are you going to say, okay, do I want to be a nerd now and just trying to figure this out? Or should I be chaotic and just be, all right, let me go and live this world the way I want to be. Let me cause chaos. Let me live a life without worrying. And I think there is a truth to that in the sense that, hey, if you are going to worry so much about existence, you're going to miss life, the beauty of life right in front of you. And I think when people fall into the trap of second-guessing themselves in many ways, especially with what they believe and hear on media, in their own lives, from their neighbors, etc., and they don't go for the good things in life, I think that's a very sad tragedy. And I think a lot of people fall into that trap, not wanting to test the narratives, not wanting to test the control that is being placed around others at work, in life, different parts of our areas of our lives, etc. And you're thinking, okay, how can we set ourselves free to not feel so trapped? And I would argue, once you find peace and love of yourself, then you can start to think broadly, start to consider bigger truth, and start to accept bigger truth and say, hey, maybe my heart is bigger now to accept more people because now I can help others with a bigger heart just now that I love. And maybe now I can develop some common sense to where, okay, I see how people like to manipulate others for other gains. Let me be a better person, a better advocate. And let me not be manipulated so that way I can outsmart the thinker, the one who is the trickster. That way I can still protect those in need. And so the idea here is to not fall into despair. To be making a mistake about how we think about life is okay. We all make mistakes and we want to move forward. And I would argue further that not to fall into despair and not to worry. Going back to that, just to be free and to be at peace. We're trying to protect those who are under our care, and we can do good things. So don't give up on yourself. And remember that with 285, with all these different philosophies, faiths, right? Everything trying to understand itself. The human mind has already been made by somebody from the past. And to have our way of thinking, have our brain formed as it is, the way everything is just built, right? Someone made the imprint. And when we look at the one who's trying to share with us, hey, don't worry, I got your back. The imprint is there. Live life and be proud. I think that is reassuring. So don't give up on yourself and don't worry about the things that we don't understand, because that'll drive out the worst in us if we live in fear. So don't live in fear and live in peace and accept that the truths that we don't know, it's all right. The big person knows the big blueprint already that he made. So let's trust in that and not give up on ourselves and find peace that we don't have to have every answer and can move forward with happiness. Things to consider. All right, everyone. I hope this one finds you well today with number 285 of the Catechism. Don't give up on yourself. Be courageous. Be strong. And always remember that you and I can live a peaceful life and to not live with the worry and to break the narratives that keep us back and to overcome the fear with courage. And when you overcome the fear and you find the good people in your life that are really meaningful to you, it's a wonderful thing to run into, and you're going to be so proud. I guarantee it. All right, everyone. Hope this one finds you well. Take care. Have a good one.